I've been holding off on writing and recording this topic. It's a big one, for me at least. I've ended my recordings with the GD signature sign-off. Most people may assume this is my alias, which is more or less correct. And some of you may have learned that GD is an initialism for my creatively produced title of Guardian Dominator. But what exactly is a Guardian Dominator? And who is GD? This is complicated, but I will try to simplify it as best I can. Guardian Dominator is a hero. He is my hero. He could not save me from my reality, but he stayed with me when I needed him most. He has no specific gender, but I refer to him by male pronouns because, objectively speaking, he shares my mind as a male-birthed human being. Referring to him by he/him pronouns is just easier to do, as I reflexively refer to myself by he/him pronouns as well. I created him to address dire emotional circumstances created by my childhood, parents, teachers, schoolmates, and much more. He was created in my life around my age of 10, though he was only a feeling with no name until I reached about age 20 or so. Through meditation, I remained in contact with him. But again, he was only a feeling, not an entity separate from my own being. I suppose a better way to explain it is that we are the same soul. But I was the body, and he was the mask. By wearing GD, I acquired a new interface for which to understand reality. But GD is dependent on my meditation to remain in contact with me, and the breaking of this meditation leaves me alone and vulnerable without a hero to service me. I was terrified during my existence as a human on Earth, and I wanted context for my pain and suffering. I couldn't be that hero who saves himself from oblivion, so I created one that could service me during my desperation through deep meditation. But why Guardian? Why Dominator? I was vulnerable to harm in ways that no one could or was able to protect me from. While physical harm may have been one of the problems, emotional harm was the most common and unrelenting of the issues. As a guardian, this mask, this hero, could shelter me from direct subjective attacks. This arguably was the job of my parents, but my mask became my subjective guardian, by role and by name. As for Dominator, I needed an arbitrative control system, physically and emotionally. I was attacked by everyone, endured pain and suffering emotionally and sometimes physically, and by age 10 was confronted with this idea that loving and caring intent can present itself through misconduct of poor micro-orgasm control as pain and suffering. Keep in mind, this is the same pain and suffering that drove me to feelings of vengeance and cruel imagery. I was a judicial wreck and could not trust myself with my own reasoning. As a dominator, the Guardian Dominator I had created would account for and regulate my emotional well-being, while also shutting down my physical body should my situation or environment change in a manner that my childish inner being deemed necessary reacting to. The Dominator avoided situations where my unattuned, unkempt, and knowledge-lacking reactions could result in a reaction cascade effect that could further damage Adam's my emotional integrity. That isn't all. Guardian Dominator has a further significance. Before age 10, I had developed other masks. Around age 25, I had given them names. The first mask was named Fear. She saw pain and suffering from my interactions with others and treated them as a threat to be avoided, as her name would suggest. The second mask was named Vengeance. He saw cruelty from my interactions with others and treated them as a threat to be unforgivably punished, as his name would suggest. The third mask was named Servitude. She saw my interactions with others as an inescapable fate and treated me as a tool to be enslaved by others to escape certain death. All these masks had intentions, perhaps not malicious, but conflicting, confusing, and unkind. You may even say these three masks were guardians themselves, perhaps even guardian dominators at the height of their influence and power. The guardian dominator is intended to rule over the other guardians and avoid conflicts between them and Adam himself. The guardian dominator, as I initially defined him, functions to stabilize Adam's emotional state regardless of what physical circumstances befall Adam himself. But what is Guardian Dominator's name? I classified the first, second, and third masks as guardians, and they were given names. What about Guardian Dominator? What was his name? To be honest, I don't remember. This is where things may start to get dark. I don't remember his name, but I do remember his domination, the ability that gives him the power to dominate. I only recently gave this ability a name. It's called Suicide King. I'd like to explain how it works, but before I do, I should explain some fundamental mechanics that my mind uses on a day-to-day basis. My five senses, hearing, sight, smell, touch, and taste, are connected to my mind. My sixth sense of interpretation is also connected to my mind. Humans physically exist beyond my five senses in a non-interactive space. I mentally exist within my sixth sense, separated from my five senses by space of mind, or room for interpretation. The only way I can connect the two realms is through use of instances. There are many instances used for the purpose of facilitating physical and mental interaction, but when first contact interaction with another human being is established, two instances are created. One of the first two instances is used to replicate the interpretive image of another human. This instance maps knowledge and nuance of my memories to the physical body of the individual being referenced. This first instance is a registry created to represent the memory and relationship between me and the human contact. One of the second two instances is used to interface with the first instance. This instance also maps knowledge and nuance of my memories, but does so for the purpose of interfacing with the first instance. To put it simply, the first instance registers another human's identity to my mind, while the second instance registers my interaction and memory associated with that first instance, used to represent the other human. It is important to note that my interface interacts with the registry of the human and not the human directly. Interacting directly with another human being without having a registry for that human is mechanically impossible, as doing so would automatically start a new registered instance of that human's interaction with me. Why is this so important? Well, Suicide King is a domination ability that has the authority to kill instances. Instances that are killed are not erased from memory, but permanently marked as killed and cannot be overridden, regardless of the physical state that the represented human may exist in. If I, or another human being, wish to establish a relationship after a kill has been completed between us, a new instance with no prior connection to the old instance may be established, since a killed instance cannot be revived either wholly or partially. This is the power of Suicide King. If any instance within Adam's mind is deemed to be physically or emotionally threatening, the Guardian Dominator will use Suicide King to kill the instance. While a physical human body may remain unharmed, Adam's mind will simulate the death of that entity, and further interaction or communication with that physical entity will no longer be emotionally possible. Even if Adam or another physical human being attempt to re-interact or re-communicate with one another, Adam's human mind will not register that interaction or communication as a re-interaction or re-communication with a killed instance. Adam can only start new interactions and communications with humans if a new instance of them is created following their previous instance being killed. I should clarify something. Memories of an individual human's history of communication and interaction are stored in the instances. By killing an instance, Adam's hero is essentially killing people without killing and executing physical humans, thereby triggering legal repercussions. If the humans being killed are harmful to Adam, his hero is attempting to keep him safe. However, as I have mentioned before, Adam is sensitive to the micro-orgasms of other humans, and even kind and loving humans can be misread as harmful. In other words, an innocent human with unkempt micro-orgasm control could trigger a kill order through Suicide King. Keep in mind, Adam can't subjectively tell the difference between physical death of a human being and instance death via kills. Now, I have already mentioned that Suicide King is used to kill instances, and that killing the first instance of a relationship kills Adam's connection to the physical human. But I haven't mentioned what happens when the second instance is killed instead. Effectively, it is the same. Killing either the first or second instance will disconnect the relationship. However, Suicide King can choose between killing the registry or killing the interface. Since Adam can't tell the difference between physical humans and emotional instances, killing the registry is the same to him as killing another human being physically, and killing the interface is the same to him as killing himself. As the guilt of killing became more overwhelming, especially when acknowledging that harm caused to him may very well be unintentional, Suicide King would more often opt to kill the interface. Killing with Suicide King is an emotional survival mechanism, one with consequences, and killing the interface over killing the registry has far worse complications for Adam. I mentioned how these instances store memories. Well, the registry stores memories required to recognize other individual human beings. But the interface stores memories that allow Adam to articulate and manipulate himself to interact with other human beings. By killing an interface, Adam loses confidence, motor control, speech, and many other skills used for communicating with other individuals. But, of course, I should mention that all killed instances are simply fragments of Adam's mind. Whether Adam realizes it or not, all instances killed by his hero are damages dealt to himself. Whether you can comprehend this or not, Adam kills himself, emotionally, in order to protect himself from physical and emotional pressures beyond his comprehension to control. This is why Adam's hero, his current guardian's domination, is called Suicide King. But why am I talking about this? There is a severity that burdens my hero, that burdens me. I kill to protect. But what am I supposed to do when all sources of harm could be good? Do I wait them out? Wait through the feelings of harm until the alleged good has time to reveal itself? Do I allow my child to be assaulted just to possibly learn that assault may not have been the intention? Keep in mind, I am trapped behind the micro-orgasm barrage and I cannot see until I am struck. My hero is becoming a villain, just like the other three. But is he evil? There is another reason why I am talking about GD. The meditation and servitude herself have tried to put fear and vengeance to sleep in an attempt to buy time. GD was spared from slaying many instances due to these circumstances, but damage was still done. These instances were marked as killed, but they are not dead. They simply cannot live freely as Adam wanted to. They were Adam, but they were slain to protect Adam from himself. But now they are shackled by death, and their desires and ambitions have rotted into regrets, and they anguish inside Adam, wanting to live freely. They are poisoning Adam, not because they want to, but because they wanted something in a body that could only bend and twist in so many ways given the restriction arbitrarily placed on it by outsiders. GD needs help. Forever forward we march. This is GD signing off. Until next time.